Bonjour et bienvenue à la classe de français. Moi, je suis Monsieur Kearns. Hello, parents and students of French at Golden High School. I'm Mr. Kearns. Welcome back. So, we're going to go through a little introduction, what to expect from my class, supplies, preferred communication methods, the grading policy for this year, and kind of a short talk about what the class might look like. So, in mentioning that, here's an example of what the class might look like. Qui est Monsieur Kearns? Qui suis-je? Moi, je suis de Littleton, Colorado. J'enseigne le français depuis 8 ans. J'aime faire de l'escalade, voyager et jouer au tennis. Faire de l'escalade, le tennis, vous voyez aussi, et voyager. Pretty simple, real quick, and then I might go into the translations, but hopefully, even if you've never taken French, you were able to understand a little bit just by context and pictures, and you can start to see how even staying in French with a lower level can be comprehensible. It can be something you understand. So, who am I? I'm from Littleton, Colorado. I've been teaching for 8 years. This is my 9th year. I coach rock climbing and tennis here at Golden High School, and I enjoy doing both. And I also have a master's in teaching and learning and my administration principal license. But I love being in the classroom, and so still in the classroom because this is what I love to do. So I love hopefully introducing the French language, different Francophone cultures, so not just French culture, but, Canadian, Moroccan, Senegalese. I mean, I could go on and on, Swiss, Belgian, Togolese, whatever. But anyways, just learning about different cultures and hopefully inspiring students to do the same. And I love hopefully having a positive impact on the lives of the students around me. So, since this is a video, you can pause this here and take a look at what the correct period you need, class, this is your Google Classroom code, and remind code. Okay, so I use a communication called Remind, and we will talk about this in class as well, but parents and students can sign up for both. Google Classroom is where all assignments will be sent out. Remind is more of just a quick way that I can remind students about like an upcoming assignment, a test the next day, and they'll receive it as a notification on their phone, either as a text message, or if you download the app, then you'll receive it as a notification through the app. Now, I use the app. I like it because it's a way that basically, because high schoolers usually have their phones on them more often than are checking their email, they'll be more up to date in that way. And they can communicate me quickly in a way that's comfortable with them without like giving each other our phone numbers or anything like that. So pause that. Please go try logging into Google Classroom by going to classroom.google.com, classroom.google.com, and there's your join code. Remind, you can download the Remind app and use these codes, or you can text this number to the phone number 81010. And if you're doing that, you would want to include the @ symbol. So you would send, like, if you're in French 1, period 1, you would send @goldfr11 to the phone number 81010. And that's relevant for students and parents, both of these. Students will get you all logged in class as well. All right, here's what to expect in French class. Most days will be spent as an immersive experience where we will listen to French, read French, speak French, and write in French. All students are expected to speak every day. Attendance is super important because of that. So, regardless of the reason, if you miss class, you need to email me and ask about what you will need to do to make up the learning that you missed that day. It's really hard to do, but it's important to me that you find a way to make up that learning, because you're missing the chance to hear French, and you're probably not hearing and practicing that at home unless I give you some guidance on how to do that. So regardless of the reason, you'll need to make up your missed class. And unlike previous years, where there's been times where I've had a Zoom call going and class, that's not an option anywhere in the district anymore, so that I can be out and actually doing things in person in the class rather than something like that. So if you miss, you will have to make it up at your own time, and you'll have to notify me via email that you missed and that you need the work. Okay. Communication-wise, email me. Parents, please let your students email first. Something that they're going to be learning, if they have not yet already, is how to advocate for themselves. Of course, you may email me, parents, but I always want to hear from the students first and talk to them first. Remind, that's kind of faster. If you need a quick little response, students, you can just message me via Remind. Google Classroom, that's for assignments, not grades. And then there's Infinite Campus. For example, I just want to highlight this because not everyone knows. Google Classroom looks like this. You've got your stream. So for example, you'll have your homepage where all your classes are listed. Then you will have your stream. This is where announcements, or anytime I post, it'll pop up here like some kind of social media feed basically. And then classwork. This is where assignments are given to you and where you turn them in. People, this is just who is in the class, and parents can also sign up. And then grades. I do not usually use these grades. Even if I grade something in here, this is not your official grade, so don't worry about that. Just your stream is where you need to be checking, and classwork, okay? Anything assigned will be here. And there's a notification on the stream when something's assigned in the classwork, but just so you know. There's also a calendar over here that tells you when things are due soon. I don't use that a lot because we don't have a lot of big projects that are due like a long time out. So a lot of times I will only assign something the day that it's due in classwork, okay? But if you wanted to look at our Google Calendar, it would be through there. So Infinite Campus, on the other hand, looks more like this, and this is your official grade. This is the grade that goes on the transcript. This is where you should look to see what you have missing, to see what your grades look like. So this is your grading portal and is very important. All right, let's go back to this. People always want to know what to bring to class. Please bring a notebook and a pen or a pencil. The notebook is for taking notes, extra paper, so it's great if it's something that paper can be torn out of and used and turned in, and just generally for writing, like if I give you something to write on. I do ask that everyone brings a fully charged Chromebook every day. That allows us to do different activities where you are working on your computer either collaboratively with the class, or you're working on an assignment by yourself at your desk. And that's also why I say bring headphones that work with your Chromebook, because there are certain activities that we might do where you're watching a video individually so that you can pause it and go at your own pace when listening to French. And so if it's possible, please bring headphones that will work with your Chromebook. I have a few extras, or if you do not have them, we can find a way to get you them through our school. And then also, please bring your energy, grit, and compassion. And we'll talk more about that in just a second. Grading policies, people want to know about that. There's two main things: overall proficiency, your ability to use the language, and supporting work. So our supporting work, that's basically our everyday classwork. So quizzes goes in there, but basically any homework, your participation, which is very important to me, that's your overall supporting work. That helps you get to become proficient in French. Your proficiency is 60% because that's how well you can use the language, and that's more important. So you'll hear me talk about interpretive communication. That just means like reading and listening, where you're interpreting French. Interpersonal, that's where you're talking back and forth on the fly. You have to quickly hear and then understand and then come up with a response that's also comprehensible, that can be understood by the other person. And then presentational communication, that's when you have time to sit and pause. It's not necessarily just a presentation, though it could be. Essays or writing prompts would also go in this category because you have the time to correct yourself and to really pause and think about it. It's not as on the spot as interpersonal, and you're not interpreting any language. And then your final exam is also going to be 15%. So overall, that's 60% of your grade coming from 15% in each of these categories, plus your final exam, which will have elements of that. Okay, so what's a proficiency-based classroom look like? I'm actually going to skip this for time's sake, but I will publish these slides in the stream in Google Classroom. Okay. How do I succeed? It's really important to be bold and to take risks. You need to speak up. So if you don't understand something, ask for help. I will constantly try to go at the level of speaking in French that the whole class is comfortable with, plus a little bit extra to keep us learning and push us forward. But if you're lost, I need to know that. And I'll teach you some ways to let me know discreetly. But it's really important that students speak up for themselves if they need help. Also, it'll be scary and difficult sometimes just to be in a place where another language is spoken and you're expected to speak that language and you're still learning it. But just know that I want everyone to do well in my class. I want everyone to succeed. So I'm here for everyone, and I really care about my students. So if there's ever an issue or you're struggling, I'm here for you. We can make a time to have some one-on-one tutoring, things like that. Or just in general, sometimes I need to be reminded to slow down. I ask that you be compassionate with yourself and with your classmates. You'll make mistakes. Your classmates will make mistakes. I'll make mistakes. Just did, errors, things like that. Those are good. That's important. Okay. So I will not punish you for making mistakes because you should make mistakes. No little child, no 2-year-old speaks perfect English or French or Spanish or whatever language they're speaking at home, but they're practicing and they're practicing and they're practicing, and eventually it gets better. But if they don't talk, that's a problem, right? If you have a 2-year-old that just doesn't speak at all, or a 3-year-old, and they're still not talking, okay, then you need to go, that's a problem, okay? Same with us. So we need to at least just try. And if you make errors, that's normal and that's great. And so don't be hard on yourself. Don't be hard on other people in class or making fun of them, because that's the kind of environment we need, where people do make mistakes and we encourage that. I also will ask that everyone is open. You'll be learning a lot about different Francophone cultures, meaning French-speaking cultures, which might be different from your own, but it might also help you understand your own culture or intrigue you in certain ways. So I ask that you're open-minded to learning about the ways that people in other places of the world do life. And then also try hard. Um, this probably won't be really easy. It's not something where you can just like sit in the class and take it all in and just get an A for showing up every day and for turning in your work. Like you actually have to try. Um, so I ask that you do that. Okay. Quick intro. I'm not going to talk about all these, but if you'd like to pause this video and go look at like Google Classroom, Remind, Flipgrid, Quizlet, Quizzes, Pear Deck, Screencastify, or Edpuzzle, these are all district approved technology resources that I use regularly in class. And finally, here's my contact information. If you'd like to get a hold of me or ask me any questions, my email is skeirns@jeffcoschools.us. That's the email address I use. I know Jeffco has 2 email addresses for every teacher. I have the other one forwarding here, but to make sure it gets there, just send it to this one, and we should be good to go. So don't hesitate to reach out. That's the most effective way to get a hold of me. I really look forward to seeing everyone this year, meeting all the families, and I hope that we have a great school year. Okay. À bientôt. Au revoir.